Wow. Okay, so you see this stunning gecko right here, and you ask yourself, how on earth do I get my hands on one of these? Hello everyone, I'm Ashley and welcome to Crypto Cresties. So this crested gecko is owned by Rooted Cresties, and he is a super stripe Axanthic Lily white. His name is Skunk, and nope, he is not for sale. But isn't he gorgeous? Like, oh my goodness, I think he's just the most beautiful thing. This one, however, is for sale on Morph Market. Also gorgeous, also an Axanthic Lily white, but not a super stripe like Skunk. There's like lots going on gene-wise with Skunk, which we're gonna get into. So at least at the time of the making of this video, you are able to purchase this one off of Morph Market from Exotic Hets. If you don't mind dropping some bucks. And I have no affiliation with them, by the way. So now you may be asking, how do I make one of these? Yeah, I asked the same thing. Turns out you're still gonna drop a few bucks. The good news is the Axanthic market has come down some. It is still not cheap, but it's in a much more affordable price range than $20,000 plus. You may also be wondering why the cost is high in general. Well, it comes down to genetics and how difficult it is to create such a beauty. I'm curious, who here is already lucky enough to own a visual Axanthic Lily white? Let me know in the comments below. Now you may be thinking, I've got 100% het Axanthic and a lily white. I'm good, I got this. Not so fast. Unfortunately, you need a little bit more than that. It can't just be a regular lily white. At minimum, it has to be 100% het Axanthic Lily white, but we'll get into that. Let's have a basic crash course in genetics first. I have a bachelor's degree in biology, by the way, but I am not a geneticist. However, genetics was one of my favorite subjects during my studies. With all of that said, the following information comes mostly from the Foundation Genetics by Lil Monsters, and I will put a link to that in the description below. So yeah, definitely be sure to check them out. They are a wealth of information. Okay, let's dive in. I'm gonna go over the following terms: genes, alleles, morphs, traits, phenotypes, genotype, heterozygous versus homozygous, and dominant versus recessive. If you could care less about how these genes truly work, and you just want to know which gecko to pair to which gecko, then go ahead and skip to this point in the video here, this timestamp right here. But if you want to actually understand how this works, so you can make these kind of decisions on your own in the future, don't skip ahead. Keep watching. Okay, we're going to start with the definition of a gene. A gene is a portion of DNA or a specific place in the chromosome that is responsible for a hereditary trait that can be passed on from parent to offspring. I think most of us have a general grasp of what a gene is, but let's go even deeper. An allele is two or more forms of the same gene donated by each parent and located on a specific place in the chromosome called the locus. So in simple terms, an allele is the code that contains the information for a specific morph or phenotype. So for example, you have a gene for base color, and that gene has different alleles that determine if the gecko will have a base color of red, yellow, black. An allele is basically a part of the gene. So it's like you got the gene, and then that gene consists of two alleles, one from each parent. The term morph is used to describe animals that have one or more than one visual trait that contributes to their appearance. So in simple terms, if you have seen more than one gecko that has a specific trait or look, then it is likely hereditary and can be passed on to offspring. This makes it a morph. Some examples of morphs are Axanthic, Harlequin, Lily White, Phantom, Pinstripe, etc. Even several of those traits expressed in one animal, like quad stripe, tricolor, or an Axanthic Lily White, are also morphs. So what is a trait? A trait is a single characteristic of a morph that can be passed on from parent to offspring. A trait is basically a description of the gene responsible for the trait that we're describing. So this also includes the recessive traits. It's similar to the definition of a morph, but refers only to the single characteristic that defines it as a gene. So that's the difference between morphs and traits. So like the morph Axanthic Lilly white, the two traits within that morph are the axanthic trait and the lily white trait. Or the morph Frappuccino. The two traits for that morph are the lily white trait and the cappuccino trait. You can stack traits even more, like an axanthic lily white superstripe. Those are 3 traits. So you have the axanthic trait, the lily white trait, and the superstripe trait. And not to get too complicated, but there also may be an empty back trait involved, which would make 4 traits. Now this brings us to phenotype. A phenotype is a physical expression or outward appearance of a trait or multiple traits. The key here is that it is the outward appearance of the trait. So anything that is observable. Essentially, the phenotype is what we see and can measure in a gecko, or anything really that has genes. So for example, the axanthic trait is considered a recessive phenotype because it is only observable when a gecko has 2 copies of the allele. Genotype refers to the type of information within the pair of alleles that express a trait. We use letters to describe this information. So capital letters describe the information as being dominant, and lowercase letters describe the information as being recessive. Using this system, we can predict the probability of traits and how they may or may not pass on to the offspring. Genotyping in simple terms is just using 1 to 2 letters to express what the information in the allele is. Okay, so that brings us to heterozygous versus homozygous. Heterozygous, or het, is an animal that has 2 different alleles. Since alleles come in pairs, one from each parent, one can be different from the other. The second allele, in the case of heterozygous, the second allele will be a different trait. So heterozygous just means 2 different traits, one from each parent, they're just different. Homozygous is an animal that has both pairs of identical alleles, also known as the homozygous form. This trait will be passed on 100% of the time from the parent that's homozygous because that animal must donate at least one of the 2 alleles to their offspring. Since both are the same, the offspring will always inherit 1 copy. So this is the case in visual axanthics. A visual axanthic is homozygous for the axanthic allele. That means they have both copies of the axanthic allele. And when they are paired with another gecko, they have to pass down one of those. I mean, you don't know which one they're going to pass down, but it doesn't matter because they're exactly the same. So when you pair a visual axanthic with any other animal, let's say it's a normal or a het axanthic, the offspring that's produced is always going to have at least 1 copy of the axanthic allele. So how does dominant and recessive affect the phenotypes? Dominant traits are those that are expressed or observed in an individual when at least 1 copy of the gene responsible for that trait is present. So in other words, if an individual inherits a dominant allele from either parent, doesn't matter which one, that trait will be visible or expressed in the individual. So this is true of lily whites. You only need 1 copy of the allele from 1 parent to create a lily white. Lily white is actually an incomplete dominant trait, technically, but we are not going to go over that term in this video. Maybe a future video down the road. On the other hand, recessive traits are only expressed or observed in an individual when both copies of the gene responsible for that trait are present. So if an individual inherits 2 copies of the recessive allele from one from each parent, then the recessive trait will be visible or expressed. If only 1 copy of the recessive allele is present, the dominant trait will be expressed instead. So this is how the axanthic gene works, which means you need 2 copies of the axanthic allele to create a visual axanthic, 1 from each parent. This means the visual axanthic is homozygous for axanthic. So if the gecko is heterozygous for axanthic, that means they only have one axanthic allele, and since this is a recessive trait, you will not have a visual axanthic, but you will have 100% het axanthic. It's important to note that dominant traits do not necessarily mean that they are more common or superior in any kind of way, and recessive traits do not mean that they are less common or inferior. Dominance and recessive are simply terms that are used to describe how certain traits are inherited and expressed in individuals based on the presence or absence of specific alleles. Now, going back to Skunk here, just not to further complicate things, I'm going to leave the superstripe aspect out of the equation for now. So let's just focus on how to make an axanthic lily white. There are 4 ways you can do this as a breeder. Route number 1. This is the easiest and quickest and most guaranteed, but also the most expensive way to go. It's to buy an axanthic, like a visual axanthic, and a visual axanthic lily white and pair them. All of the babies will be axanthic, and the odds are 50% that you will also have axanthic lily whites. Okay, let's see how the genes work in this scenario. So we have a visual axanthic and a visual axanthic lily white. Because we have 2 genes at play here, we are going to represent those by 2 different allele pairings. We've got the axanthic gene and the lily white gene. A stands for axanthic, and it is recessive. Capital L stands for lily white, which is dominant, and N is the non-lily white allele. So each parent has to donate a letter from each of these allele pairings. The first parent will donate an A and an N because that's all it has to offer. The second parent will donate an A in this scenario and an N in this scenario to produce a visual axanthic non-lily, because this particular offspring did not get the lily allele. Now let's look at the same pairing again. Same parents, same scenario. So the first parent will donate the only thing that it's able to donate because it is homozygous for axanthic and it's homozygous for non-lily. So the first parent is going to donate an A, and it's also going to donate an N once again. The second parent, however, is going to donate an A just as before, but this time it's going to donate the lily allele. So this particular offspring will be a visual axanthic lily white. The reason it's lily white is because the lily allele is actually dominant, so it only needs 1 copy of that particular allele. So route number 2 is the mid-price range. You buy a visual axanthic and pair it with 100% het axanthic lily white. Not a visual axanthic lily white, mind you, because they're expensive. You will get a mix of visual axanthics, visual axanthic lily whites, normals, but 100% het for axanthic, and normal lily whites, also 100% het for axanthic. When I say normal, I just mean it's not a visual axanthic. Okay, first I'm going to show you how to create a visual axanthic lily white out of this pairing. So we have our visual axanthic and our 100% het axanthic lily white. So lowercase a still represents axanthic, which is recessive, but I'm also going to include a capital B here, which represents the normal base color of the non-axanthic lily white that we have here. And then capital L is going to represent lily white, which is dominant, and N is going to represent non-lily white. So just as before, each parent is going to donate 1 allele from each gene. So the axanthic is going to donate the A and the N, and then the 100% het lily white is going to donate the axanthic allele and the lily white allele, and this will create a visual axanthic lily white. So yay, we did it. You had a 25% chance of creating that out of this pairing. So what else can you create out of this pairing? Well, you actually have 4 different possibilities that can come from pairing a visual axanthic with 100% het axanthic lily white. So one possibility is a visual axanthic. It's going to get an A from each parent and an N from each parent. The second possibility is 100% het axanthic lily white. A third possibility is 100% het axanthic non-lily or normal.
And then also, as we said before, you also have the chance of getting a visual axanthic lily white. There is a 25% chance for each of these that you would get them. So like it's a 25% possibility. Now, as I mentioned before, for genotyping, Punnett squares are used to figure out probabilities of what phenotypes you will get from a pairing, or what traits are passed on from a pairing, in other words. So this is an example of a Punnett square, and also the probabilities that you would get of these different phenotypes.
Route number 3. This is the lower price range. Pair a 100% het axanthic with 100% het axanthic lily white. You will get both normal and normal lily whites that don't even carry the axanthic gene. You will also get both normal and normal lily whites that are 100% het for axanthic, but you won't know who they are by looking at them. You may get a visual axanthic, and even a little less common, you may get a visual axanthic lily white. Basically, it is possible to produce a visual axanthic lily white out of this pairing, but the odds are not nearly as good as route number 2. Also, any normals you produce would only be possible het axanthics until proven out, because there's just no way of knowing if they actually carry the gene for sure until it's like proven, because you can't tell by just looking at them.
All right, let's see how this all works together. So we have our 100% het axanthic non-lily and our 100% het axanthic lily white. Once again, the lowercase a represents the axanthic allele. It is lowercase because it is recessive. Our capital B represents the normal base color, in this case for our non-visual axanthic. And then a capital L represents the lily white. It is dominant. And N represents that it's not getting the lily white gene. So in our first gecko here, it is going to donate the A, which is the axanthic allele. And it is also going to donate one of the N's, which just represents that it's not donating any lily white alleles. So non-lily white is being donated. The second gecko is donating an axanthic allele and the lily white allele. So that gives us a visual axanthic lily white. The odds of getting this are 12.5%. So what other combinations can you get from this pairing? Well, you actually can get 6 different combinations. Once again, same pairing, our 100% het axanthic non-lily and our 100% het axanthic lily white. So one of the possibilities is you can actually get a visual axanthic out of this pairing. Not a lily, but a regular visual axanthic. The odds of that are 12.5%. You can also get, as we mentioned before, an axanthic lily white. The odds of that are also 12.5%. In addition to that, you will also get, possibly, 100% het axanthic non-lily, and also a 100% het axanthic lily white. Odds for both of these are 25%. In addition to that, you're also going to get normals that don't even carry the axanthic gene at all whatsoever. So you'll get a normal non-lily, and you also get a normal lily white. The odds of that are 12.5% for both of those. So, as I mentioned, out of this pairing, you will get possible het axanthics. When an animal is considered a possible het, that just means you don't know if it carries the axanthic gene or not. And the only way to know is by proving it out. So out of this pairing, you've got 4 possibilities of possible het axanthics. The ones that are labeled het axanthic are possible hets until you prove them out. So this is also the Punnett table and the probabilities here. Some probability charts. I'm not going to explain Punnett tables in this video. I didn't really want to go too in depth with that, but I did want to show you guys what it looks like so you get a general idea.
Route number 4. This is the cheapest route, but also the good possibility that you will get no visual axanthics whatsoever. And that would be to pair 100% het axanthic with a 66% or 50% het axanthic. One of these would need to be a lily white in this scenario to have any chance of producing a visual axanthic lily white. And it really doesn't matter which one's the lily at all, doesn't matter. Out of this, you will get normals, normal lily whites, possible het axanthics, and you may or may not ever produce any visual axanthics out of this pairing, because that 50% or 66% het axanthic you have may not carry the axanthic gene at all. So you could just be pairing a het axanthic with a normal. And you know what? I will explain the 50% and 66% het terminology in like another future video. And okay, wait. There's actually one more route that you could take, which is truly the cheapest, but I for sure do not recommend this to anyone who truly wants to create an axanthic lily white. It would be to pair a 50% or 66% het axanthic with a 50% or 66% het axanthic, one of which is a lily white, of course. If you really like the gamble, hey, go for it. But the odds are truly stacked against you if you take this route. You may have two geckos that don't even carry the axanthic gene at all. Like, there's no way to know until you prove them out. Okay. So the route I'm personally taking is route number 2. And I recommend the same to those that can afford it, but who choose not to drop all the cash for route number 1, which is to pair a visual axanthic with the visual axanthic lily white. Also, if route number 2 is out of your price range as well, I totally understand. The next best route is route number 3. I've heard of many people actually hitting the jackpot going this way, so you really never know. Like, it is possible. Okay, so this is my boy Bitcoin. He is my visual axanthic male. I got him from Ruby Reptiles, by the way. If he's very jumpy. He's always been very jumpy. I don't know why. Okay, let's see if it'll focus on him. A visual axanthic, which means he is homozygous for the axanthic allele. And this is my 100% het axanthic lily white girl. So I will be pairing these two together once they are big enough and old enough. They obviously are not either right now. Yeah, so this pairing will produce an axanthic lily white. Not all of them will be that, obviously, and I won't get all axanthics. So out of this pairing, I'm actually going to get just visual axanthics. I will get axanthic lily whites, and I will get normals that are 100% het for axanthic. So yeah. Oh, they've calmed down now. They were very jumpy earlier. They've actually never seen each other before, so this is kind of funny. This is Bitcoin, and this is a girl that hasn't been named yet. So just a little trivia, I do name all of my breeders after cryptocurrency coins, but I haven't decided on a name for her. So if you guys want to take a look at the names of cryptocurrency coins and leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know what you think I should name her, like which cryptocurrency she should be named after. I named him Bitcoin because he is the gecko that I spent the most money on. Oh, he's getting ready to jump. I named him Bitcoin because he's the gecko that I spent the most money on, and he's kind of going to be like my main man, you know, as far as the Axanthic projects go. But for her, I don't know. She's a pretty girl though. She's like a really nice orange lily white. Absolutely gorgeous. I got her from Geckos. He is out of Korea, but he actually had a location in Canada. So this girl got shipped from Canada, not from Korea. All right, I'm gonna go put them away. Okay, so this pairing has a chance of producing an Axanthic Lily white. It'll be an Axanthic Lily, but will it look exactly like Skunk with those gorgeous stripes down its back? Just beautiful. No, not a chance. The super stripe trait is not completely understood yet, but so far it is believed it is possibly acting as recessive or an incomplete dominant. The empty back trait may also be involved, neither of which either of these geckos have. But hey, it will still be a gorgeous Axanthic Lily white, and I cannot wait to produce it once these guys get old enough. So how do you get a gecko with those stripes? Well, this video is about how to make an Axanthic Lily white. The super stripe adds a whole other trait into the equation. It makes things a bit more complicated. Basically, you would either need both geckos to be super stripes, or you would need one to be a super and the other het for super, or two het super stripes. Your best odds are if both are super stripes. In the case of my two here, let's just say that they were also both super stripes. I would have a 25% of producing a gecko like Skunk out of this pairing. So that would be a pairing of a super stripe axanthic, visual axanthic, and a super stripe lily white 100% het axanthic. Now, if they were both only het for super stripe, my odds would drop to 6%. Yeah. So you ask, why is a gecko like this worth more? Well, quite simply, the odds of producing one of these beauties is low. It reduces the amount that are available on the market, and it's a gorgeous gecko. Like, who wouldn't want a gecko like this? So it's really supply and demand at its finest. Hey, if you like this video, maybe watch this one next. This one, if you want to see the intro for like my channel. Also, give a thumbs up if you enjoyed the content, and subscribe if you would like to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching.